Alright guys, so we've just started C#. We spent a couple of days on it. What I want to do today in this example as a video is review a couple of the ways you use C#, how you program it, and we're going to look at one of the new controls called a radio button, which is kind of cool. It's a way to have these little circles show up on your screen. When you press them, things appear. Okay, so let's go through the entire process of how you make a program from beginning to end. So what you do, as I've shown you a couple of times, you go to File, New Project, and sometimes by accident it's on one of these, X and A. And so you go, where is it? Where is it? So click on the top thing where it says C#. Then there's the one we're going to pick almost all the time, Windows Form Application. Then you rub this out, and today the program, I'll call it radio buttons, because that's kind of like the idea we're going to talk about. Then you press OK, and in a couple of seconds the computer makes the main form appear, which is this thing right here. It has all your tools over here in the toolbox. It should have your Explorer window and your properties down here. Okay, and like I told you before, if some of these accidentally go missing, the toolbox is gone. Press the tools, it should come back. Okay, so next thing I always do when I've been showing you is I go over to the form, I right click and I rename it, and forms have the name FRM always, and then today I'm going to call this one Form Radio because it's to do with radio buttons, and then I'm going to press yes. Okay, next thing I almost always do with you guys is I change the title up here. So what I'll do, and that's properties, so I'll go down to here where it says Form 1 and I'll call this Radio Buttons. And what should happen when you press that is you'll see the word radio buttons there. Now you can change the background and all that kind of stuff. We don't need to today. We're just going to keep that pretty straightforward. Next thing, I always like to save, even though I haven't really done much yet, and I press Save All. Now here I'm doing it at my home computer, so it's a little bit different. What you guys would do is click on Browse and go somewhere on your H drive where you'd want to keep your program. I'm going to put this one in the temp directory, and the computer is going to save it as a folder called Radio Buttons. Okay, and it even has a little check mark here, Create a Directory. So I press Save. Okay, and now we're ready to go. So what are you going to do on this today? Well, we've learned a couple of controls. We've done buttons. Those are kind of neat. Use those. We've done text boxes. Okay, that's where you put answers to stuff. We've also done a label. A little farther up here. Labels are usually just for titles. Okay, you don't really program labels that much. The buttons and the text boxes are what you usually program. So what are we going to do today? Today we're going to do two things. We're going to use these little things called, well, I call them radio buttons, but actually the way that they're called in this program, let's go down a bit actually. Okay, some ones they used to call them option buttons. They call them radio button, all one word stuck together. All right, so that's the one thing we're going to use. And we're also going to need some pictures because I want to do kind of a cool program. So we're going to use this picture box. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. First of all, let me just show you what a radio button looks like. I'm just going to throw one up here. All right, I won't even name it yet. Just want to show you how it works. All right, so those are radio buttons. And just for fun, I'm going to run it. And you see how one of them is like, looks like it's on and the other one's off. Now you press this one, it turns that one off, and this one goes on, and this goes back and forth. So what could you do with this kind of a thing? Well, when you pressed one of these instead of this one, what it would do is maybe activate some part of your program, or possibly make something appear or disappear, depending on when you press and unpress it. Okay? Now, here's the problem with radio buttons. What if you've got a program where these two guys are controlling something on your screen, and then you want two other radio buttons that have nothing to do with those ones? Okay, these ones have something else that they're going to control. So you're going to have a couple more radio buttons here and here, and they don't control the other guys. Alright, let's watch. I'm going to run this. So these two are controlling whatever. Could be a picture or something. And these two, whoa, what happened to this guys? Whoa, it looks like they're all one big gigantic thing. Ah, not good. Alright, so let's rub all these out. What's going to happen is, if you want to use radio buttons and you've got sets of them, groups of them, what you're going to have to do is actually use something like you heard me say the word group. You're going to have to group them together in a special container. And there actually is something called a group box. So if you find yourself doing multiple radio buttons, you're going to put yourself in a group box. Then you're going to go to the radio button, wherever it is, and put your radio buttons in there. We'll do another one. Okay, so now those are in their own little world. Then you make another group box for the other guys over here. And again, you get your own set of radio buttons, put them in their own little world. And there's the second one. Okay, and I'll prove it to you. Now, we haven't done any programming yet. We're just giving you a little rough idea of how these things work. So these guys are in their own little world. These guys are in their own little world. And now everybody's happy. Okay, so that's like the introductory theory of what a radio button looks like and how we're going to use it to do a simple example. Okay, all right, now we're going to rub all these guys out again, and we're going to start fresh and do our real problem. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to do a multiple group radio button. I just want to do a simple little program that has a couple of radio buttons, and then depending on what I press, things are going to happen. So let's focus in on now the problem at hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 radio buttons. Well, maybe I'll use two or 3 anyway. I'll put a radio button here, but now I'm going to get a little bit more formal. Okay, so because when you do computer programming, everybody has to be formally introduced. So that's not good enough. Now I'm going to go to Properties. All right, and this guy is going to be called RDO, and I'm going to call this one RDO Happy. I'm going to have like a happy face picture show up when I press them. So that's the name. Now you got to go down to the text, rub that out, and put the word happy. And there it is. There's the happy button. Okay, and actually I'll just do 2 of them, happy and sad. All right, so let's go down to another radio button, and this one here, I'll call it RDO sad, and I'll put the word sad. Okay, so we're going to have 2 buttons. When I press them, 2 pictures are going to show up. Okay, so next we got to get picture boxes. So this is going to be my happy face picture box. Okay, and I'll just slide this down a bit more. And I'm going to have a picture box for the sad face. Alright, now, it's not good enough. Get it through your head. Every time you do something in computers, you're going to have to introduce yourself. Picture boxes are a PIC, and this is going to be the happy picture box. Right? You don't do the text on this one. There's actually no such word as text for pictures. This one here, we're going to call pic sad. Okay, but sir, there's nothing in them. Right, so now we got to go look for pictures. So again, it's all properties, pictures, pictures. So see where it says the word image? You're going to press the 3 dots, and now you've got to go on your computer hard drive. And at school, I think it's in my Shirley sharing folder or something like that, and you look for VB graphics. Now, I've copied that to my home computer here, and I'll show you what I mean in a sec. I'm just going to go in here and press import. Okay, and this is going to make me point to my computer, so I got to sneak my way into my computer here, and I got to go to the temp drive. Now you guys are going to go to Shirley sharing. Now here is going to be a folder, something like this, VB graphics, and now I got to take a guess where some of this stuff is, and this is going to happen to you on the quiz actually also. So let me go into icons. I'm pretty sure that's where it is, and I think it's in, is there miscellaneous? Yeah, there's miscellaneous. Now, oh, I don't see anything. There's pictures there, I'm positive. So I'm going to do that thing where you type in a star dot star, and that shows me all the pictures. Oh, there they are. Okay, because the format of the pictures that I'm using is kind of a weird format. It's called an ICO file. It's not a JPEG or a GIF or anything, but I mean, there are other pictures that you can put in C#. Hey, there's a happy face right there. But this is really happy. I'm going to go with this one. Okay, and then I'm going to press OK. Ooh, that's kind of small. Let's go and make it big. You go to size mode, and we'll stretch it. All right, not a great picture, but it doesn't matter. I mean, we're just doing a simple example, right? Okay, so next we're going to go and get the other picture. That's the sad picture, so I'll click on image, and again I'll click on import, and this will be the sad face. That looks like a mad face, but we'll think of it as the sad face. Okay, and again we will turn the stretch mode on, and we're set. Okay, it's now computer programming time. Alright, so how do I make these invisible? Because when I run this right now, they're both going to be on. Alright, and I don't want them to be like there at the beginning, or at least one of them not to be there. I mean, the happy one can be there, and then I want to switch to sad. So there's a couple places you can do this. You can actually tell the computer, hey, make these invisible right now. Okay, so you can click on that, and there's a thing called visible, and you can make it false. And same with that one, visible, false. And then we can run it. Hey, they're both gone. How do I get them back? Hey, come on back. They're not coming back. All right, so now we got to do some computer programming. And here's what we do. We got to go in the underground. Let's click on happy first. We'll double click on it, and we're going to tell the computer, hey, I've got a pic called happy.visible, and right now it's false. Let's make it true. All right, now if I press U, then what if I had the other one already on? Well, then I got to turn that one off. So you always do like the opposite to turn it off. All right, so that's the first one that you do. Now notice what I did. I clicked here. Now I'm going to click here. I'm going to click right on the word sad. I'm going to type the exact same stuff. Pick sad.visible equals true. So that one I turn on. And I've got pick happy.visible equals false. Alright, so I think that's basically it. I'm going to press F5 to run it. Okay, so it starts off happy. Not a big deal, because this one is automatically on when we start it. And then, hey, good. Oh, alright. That's cool. Now we're going. Nice. And that's how you program radio buttons. Okay, now to finish off, you need to understand what's going on over here. Like when you write your program, and you know it's decent, it's not a great program, but it basically works. When you write your program, what's all this other stuff over here? You have to know where things are going. So first thing you have to realize is, where did my computer program go and get saved, and where is all that stuff that's part of my program? So in my particular case, alright, I saved it on the temp drive, and there it is right there, radio buttons. It made a folder. Now inside of there is a bunch of stuff. Inside of there is more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. But that's where everything's getting saved. Alright, so if you ever had to hand this assignment in, you would right click on this, you would zip it up, and then that's what you would send to me. You can't just send me one line, okay? You can't say, sir, I sent you this. Not good enough. You have to send me everything. So that's one thing you have to realize when you write a computer program in C#. Second thing, alright, let me just drop this down. Okay, the second thing is, okay, let's take a look at the form now. Like, what's this right here? This is the form, but what are these two things? Let's click on it and see what happens. This is the designer view. Now in the old days, and if some of you guys are ever going to learn some other language like Java, they would make you actually physically write these commands that you see. What the heck is all that? Alright, well this is what you had to use in the old days to write the commands. But what Microsoft has done to make it easy for us, when we draw these, it does all that dirty work behind your back. Right? And what's this thing right here? Hey, those are the pictures. This RES, it keeps the resources that make up this program. Okay, I got one more I don't know anything about. What's this one right here? Program CS. This actually kickstarts the entire program. Now isn't that neat? Here, look what it says here. Form radio. Hey, that's that thing right there. So this tells the computer when you run, hey, you've got to go to this thing right here, form radio. Now why is that important? Because actually in a couple of days we're going to have more than one form. So we'll have to tell the computer, hey, go with my second form or my third form or my first form, something like you did in Flash. Okay? So that's an overview, a review of how you make that simple radio button program, and hopefully you can watch this a couple of times and see how it works.